Nobody's here yet. Okay. Well then, 1 second. I mean, nobody's here. They don't care. They're not waiting. I'm just gonna get synced up with my other YouTube thingy-majigger on my phone. No, I don't want to try it. Thank you. Okay, so I got a question on the Instagram, and I get these kinds of questions quite frequently, like how to deal with autoimmune diseases when either, before you're on a plant-based diet, hello, or after you're on a plant-based diet. The person who asked specifically, they were actually on a plant-based diet, it sounded like, for a year, and then they developed an autoimmune disease. So that's not impossible. It's not totally uncommon, because the research that's coming out right now is really linked to, hi everybody, is really linked autoimmune disease with gut health. So if there's an issue going on with your gut, specifically issues where the gut microbiome or all the bacteria in your gut aren't healthy enough or established enough, or you don't have healthy populations of them, then you can end up having issues with the thickness of the lining of your gut, which then allows the bacteria in your gut to interact with your immune system. So even if it's good bacteria in your intestines, you still don't want that bacteria to be coming in contact with your immune tissues, right? Because even that interaction with bacteria will hyperstimulate the immune system. So if your immune system is hyperstimulated and it's not appropriately regulated, then you can end up having like a hypervigilant immune system, which is then the perfect conditions to develop autoimmune disease. And this is why you find that someone who has one autoimmune disease is really prone to getting more of them in the future, because the cause is all pretty much the same. Now, obviously, there's a lot more research that needs to be done for us to be able to fully understand what causes autoimmune diseases, even though, it's one of those things with science. It's like, the better we get at learning and measuring things, the more we realize we don't know. So I feel like the more we discover about autoimmune diseases, the more we realize we really have no idea. We really didn't have any idea before. Now we're slowly starting to understand what the causes of these diseases are and how we can work on. It's really difficult once you have an autoimmune disease to be able to cure it, because once your immune system is trained or turned on in this way, it can be really difficult to. Basically, you just want to go in remission for as long as you possibly can, and when you're doing that, you really want to focus on getting your gut as healthy as possible. So I would say that if you're dealing with an autoimmune disease, this would be one of those times where you really want to be onto it with your diet. You don't want to be doing too much processed stuff. You really want to avoid the meat and the dairy. And eggs. I know that meat, dairy, eggs, and gluten are really common trigger foods for autoimmune disease. And that's because the proteins in them, if your gut lining is thin, they can easily leak into the bloodstream. That's what's known as leaky gut syndrome. So those foods are known triggers, really common triggers. Some like nuts and seeds, but the trigger foods could be anything for these people. It could be the proteins that are found in bananas. It could be mangoes or tomatoes. I know that those are some common trigger foods as well. Some nightshade vegetables like potatoes could be your trigger. So for people with autoimmune, I say be really stringent with the diet. Make sure you're getting enough fiber, good fibers, so that you can feed the gut bugs in your intestines, and make sure that they're nice and healthy and that they have food to eat so that they don't chew on the mucin or the lining of your intestines. It's also important to avoid fatty foods. So I know that there's been several older studies on diseases like multiple sclerosis, and they had great success eliminating, like, taking the fat down really low, like completely eliminating saturated fat is how they did this, but then they took out all the oils and added fats and just stuck to like really small amounts of nuts and seeds or avocados or something like that, but really low fat, and they had pretty good success with that. And I would say, just like from my, layman's mind who knows a bit, that was probably because high-fat foods increase the permeability of our intestines, right? So if your issue is already that your gut's a little bit hyperpermeable, you have a little bit of leaky gut going on, when you eat dietary fat, that increases the amount of permeability. So if you have an autoimmune issue and you decide to do the really low-fat route, I would say it would be wise to like get yourself on a DHA supplement, just to make sure that you are getting like the omega-3s that you need in order to stay healthy all around without overdoing it on excess fat. What else? So yeah, your trigger foods, low fat, and then you can figure out those trigger foods. I'd say like the most thorough way to do it is an elimination diet, where you strip your diet down to like bare bones. So you're just eating like brown rice and sweet potatoes and maybe like one or two other foods for several weeks. And it sounds really boring, it's like a mono food diet, but you just get your body back to baseline, and then you start slowly adding in foods. So like, if you want to test tomatoes, you would be eating that baseline diet, and then you would eat like a pound of tomatoes and see what happens, And then you'd go back to your baseline diet for a couple of days, and then you'd eat like a pound of whatever else you want to eat, whatever else you want to include in your diet, and see what happens. If you have any kind of flare-up or return of symptoms, then that would indicate that that's a trigger food for you. It's not a fun diet, but it's how you figure out what you can safely feed yourself. Okay? So if you guys have more questions about autoimmune stuff, feel free to let those start pouring in, and I will do my best to address them. It's like I'm not a doctor. If you have an autoimmune disorder, I would highly recommend working with like a good plant-based integrated doctor. My go-to is Dr. Pam Popper, because I really trust her to do the research and be objective and modify what she's doing based on what the science is showing, so that she can help people get well. And she has a really good autoimmune protocol that's been very effective for a lot of her patients. So there we go. Okay. Alina says, you've mentioned ashwagandha several times. What's your experience with it, and do you think it could help with adrenal fatigue and thyroid issues? I don't have a lot of experience with it. I don't remember mentioning it just specifically because I can't pronounce it. Really. I know it's like a common go-to supplement, and it's one of those supplements that can be used for a lot of stuff. As far as like adrenal and thyroid stuff, with most of the adrenal support supplements, they're really like quite stimulating. I know that's like the case with ginseng and such, the adaptogenic types of herbs. And when you stimulate yourself more, you feel better at first, but ultimately it just kind of brings you down a little bit more. So with adrenal stuff, I would say if you supplement with it, I would do it in lower doses. And then I also use like licorice root for adrenal support, and I make tea with that. But really the most supportive thing that's going to be good for your adrenals and your thyroid is rest and eating an appropriate diet and doing your best to get your stress levels under control, because it's It's that damn stress that's really the kicker and the perpetuator of those adrenal problems. Elena De La Paz. Yes, I still have an Instagram. My Instagram is lilykoihawaii. Obviously. Okay, so Profound Cake, which I really appreciate that name. They've cut out meat and dairy and it's changed their life. Excellent. They had blood tests done and it came back as anemic, but my doctor just said it's not an issue. Do you have any advice on handling anemia? So I would assume that that means like low iron levels. Check out my video on what is a wisely planned vegan diet, because that helps to address like ways that you can optimize the absorption of certain nutrients, specifically for iron, eating your iron-rich foods with high vitamin C foods. So that would be like have some lentils and spinach with a dressing of orange juice with bell peppers, that kind of thing. Like, it's not too hard to do on a plant-based diet. Especially if it's, whole food plant-based diet. Don't supplement vitamin C. Like, you don't need to do that. You can get it all from your diet. That's fine. And then avoiding having iron-rich foods with iron-binding foods. So if you drink tea or coffee, if you take a turmeric supplement, what else has oxalates in it? Greens. So greens like spinach, it's like greens like spinach are high in iron, but they're also high in oxalates, so they tend to bind to each other and you don't get as much iron. So the foods that could prevent iron absorption, the high oxalate foods, tea, coffee, turmeric, chocolate, high oxalate greens like spinach, beetroot tops. Beetroot is really high in oxalates. Just being wise that, like, you're not eating those foods every day for every meal, and, if I wake up in the morning and I'm gonna have some tea, I have my tea, and then I wait for about an hour before I have my high iron foods. Also, Blackstrap molasses, okay? And some people think that pre-soaking your beans is a good idea because it reduces the amount of phytic acid. I think that's a fine idea. Pre-soak your beans. That's fine. Pour off the soak water, and then you will theoretically get more iron absorption from those legumes. Alright? Okay. Okay, great. Yeah, Debbie says that, I'm not totally positive what TA is, so I'm not gonna spat off something that I don't know. But she did an elimination diet for autoimmune, and she took everything out and then added it back in over the course of a year, which is, it can take that long. And she's off the drugs and she's in remission, so that's awesome. And that's the other thing about the autoimmune stuff, is that a lot of these drugs make them worse. Like, a lot of the drugs used for autoimmune diseases will make you worse. Like, I know pretty much all the MS drugs, it's like if you take the drugs, you're just guaranteed to go down this, like, steady path of, getting worse and worse and worse and more confined and more immobile until you die. So, I don't like to use blanket statements like, don't trust your doctor, don't take your medication, but if you have an autoimmune disease and it's being controlled with medications, I'd have a real talk with your doctor. And I would definitely have a talk with someone like Pam Popper, who is aware of the effect of these medications. Does sugar cause cancer? If so, why does eating high-carb, low-fat not cause cancer? Just curious, because people were telling me this and talking about how a keto diet helps prevent cancer. Okay, first and foremost, there's not a lot of information about ketogenic diets. And it has become clear to me that, like, the ketogenic diet just needs a video all its own. There's not a lot of research about long-term ketogenic diets, okay? So sugar, refined sugars, it's kind of like well known that sugars feed cancer. which is true because cancer is technically a human cell, but and all human cells use sugar. So, yes, sugar feeds cancer, but so do other parts of your body, like cholesterol. Like, cancer sucks up cholesterol faster than any other tissue. In fact, a lot of people who have fast-growing tumors, their cholesterol levels plummet because the cancer is sucking all of it up. So my question is, if you're eating a ketogenic diet that's based on animal foods and you're taking in a bunch of cholesterol all the time, you're also feeding cancer, and you're giving exactly what it needs to build itself up and create more cell walls and proliferate. So cancer is not just like, cancer is so complex. It is not just about, oh, I'm going to have some sugar and then, like, tumor. You know, there are lots of things that go into that. There's also the insulin-like growth factor, which increases with the more animal foods and high-protein foods and high-fat foods that you eat. There's so much that goes into it. So, high-carb, low-fat vegan diets. I'm going to say a whole plant food diet. Okay? Whole plant food diet is the healthiest diet for humans. Like, that's what the research shows. That's what the evidence from these epidemiological studies show. Whole plant foods are the healthiest foods on the face of the planet for human beings. So, let's say I'm eating a bunch of fruit. Fruit's high in sugar. Oh my god, fruit is high in sugar. The sugar that's in fruit, it's a mixture of fructose and glucose, right? And that fructose and glucose, it's not refined sugar. It's not being dumped into your body with nothing else. It's coming into your body with fiber. It's coming into your body with antioxidants, with phytochemicals. And those are all of the phytochemicals that are known and unknown. We discover new ones every single freaking day. So you take in the sugar from fruit and it comes in with so much other goodness that mitigates the way that that sugar is oxidized and helps to protect your body from free radical creation that can come from sugar metabolism. It protects your body from huge spikes of insulin because, you know, the fiber helps to what's the word? Regulate the digestion and the absorption of all of that sugar. And so it's really no comparison, and it's so unfair to say that fruit, oh, you can't eat fruit because it has sugar. Studies that look at fruit intake have found that there is no upper limit to a safe amount of fruit that you can eat. So it's literally up to your digestive capacity to how much fruit you can eat. You know, these studies have tried, and they were, like, force-feeding people fruit to the point that they were like, I can't take anymore. And they're still doing blood tests and monitoring what's happening in their body, and they're fine. Like, they're great. They're getting healthier, you know? So, on a whole plant food diet that keeps the refined sugar relatively low, you know, it's like I put some refined sugar in the treats that we have, or I'll put a tablespoon in my salad dressing every now and then. That's fine. That's not going to feed cancer. Cancer development is about the entirety of what's going on in your body. It's not just about one thing or one nutrient. And that's what the ketogenic folks need to remember, is sure, maybe I can lose some weight, and sure, maybe ketone bodies have been shown in isolated research studies to do some cool things for the body, but that's not happening in isolation. Okay. That's awesome, Wendy. Wendy says, I had lupus, went vegan, and doctors can't believe I actually reversed it. That's awesome. I've had a lot of doctors, you know, I go to them and I'm like, I was hypothyroid. And they're like, no, you weren't. I was like, I was. but they don't believe me anymore. No, I'm not currently taking emails. I just don't have the capacity to like respond to individual emails right now. Hold on. What about refined sugar affecting acne? Oh, cool. Okay. Refined sugar, refined sugar is closely associated with biomarkers indicating increased inflammation in the body. So when you do take in refined sugar, you see a spike in inflammation. And the thing about sugar metabolism is that it's very volatile. Metabolism in general is very volatile. There's a big potential for free radicals or I can't believe I forgot it. Reactive oxygen species to be created, right? Free radicals, oxidizers. And when those are created, they can create a lot of damage in the cells. They can create a lot of inflammation, and that inflammation can definitely be seen in your face or wherever you're breaking out, with your acne. So refined sugar isn't great for that reason. It can increase inflammation and DNA damage or cellular damage from free radicals. That's why eating fruit, whole fruits, whole foods, taking in whole foods, and as they're digested and as that sugar is metabolized and dealt with, they come with packages of antioxidants as well, which if reactive oxygen species are created and those free radicals begin to do damage, your body has access to a lot of antioxidants from your dietary intake to be able to neutralize those very quickly so they can't do the same damage and cause the same inflammation. M. Landon, I've seen, it might be you on Instagram as well, asking about Plexus. I have no idea what Plexus is. I guess it's just another one of those like dietary supplement pyramid schemes. I'm not sure, but I don't know enough to be able to talk about it. Okay. Yeah, and I saw this question on Instagram too about can you get too many vitamins and minerals? And the question is abso-fucking-lutely, you can get too many. You can get too many. That's why I do not support broad spectrum. That's why I do not support broad spectrum random supplementation. Okay? Hold on one second. Lily needs some hydration. So, a lot of vitamins are water-soluble vitamins. So you take them in, and then your body uses what it needs, and then the rest you pee out. And so these are the thank you, I love you too. These are the vitamins that you need to take in every day. Things like vitamin C, the B vitamins, K fat soluble? I can't remember. Anyway, the fat-soluble vitamins are different. Fat-soluble God damn it. Fat-soluble vitamins. Vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin D, and I think vitamin K. Right? Yeah. So these vitamins, you actually can get too much. And they can get stored up in your fat cells. And that's something that can happen too. With people who lose a lot of weight really quickly, those fat-soluble vitamins have to be dealt with all of the sudden. Block. See ya. So you can get too much fat-soluble vitamins. Absolutely. And you can get too many minerals, because minerals are not easily flushed out of the body, and the minerals have to go through the kidneys. So let's say you're taking like a huge calcium supplement, or you're taking shit tons of magnesium. Those have to be taken out of the blood by the kidneys and then excreted through your urine. ideally that would be a fine situation, but you get these people taking like calcium supplements, and then they're eating a ton of like animal protein and other stuff that boosts a dietary absorption of calcium and acidifies the body and then puts extra strain on the kidneys, and then you end up with a cocktail for kidney stones. So you absolutely can get too much. That's why I advise get your nutrients from whole plant foods so that your body can choose what it wants to absorb. Because if you have, let's say you have low levels of magnesium or calcium in your body's not stupid. It notices that, and it will automatically begin absorbing more of the nutrients that you need from your intestines. So body's not stupid. Most cases it'll figure it out. Sometimes they're like genetic predispositions, certain gene expressions that can affect our body's ability to absorb or process or convert or methylate certain vitamins or minerals. And so if you go into your doctor and say you have some blood work done and they're like, oh, you have really low vitamin D, let's say. That's a really common one. You have low vitamin D. You're like, okay, I'll try to get some more sun exposure and such, and then we'll retest in 6 months. So you go out, you get your 20 minutes a day on your chest and arms at the right time of the day with the right kind of sunshine, and then you go back for tests and your vitamin D levels are still really low. You didn't see any improvement. So then I would say supplement. But supplement wisely. Like supplement until your levels go back up. And it's a fat-soluble vitamin, so it will store in your body fat. You don't have to take it forever. You don't have to take it every day. And you don't have to take mega doses of it. Right? So then get yourself up, get retested with your doctor, and he'll say, okay, great, you're within the healthy range now. Stop supplementing. And give your body a nice long break from the supplements. Then you can go on the supplement for, a month or 2 months at a time, supplement yourself, then stop. And give your body a nice long break because it doesn't need that constant inputs. There are certain people, I've been reading about it more, certain people who have gene mutations that can affect the way that they take in their B vitamins. And so I think you can figure out if you're one of those people by doing like a 23andMe test and then having some company evaluate it. But in that case, sure, maybe you could take a B vitamin supplement that's been methylated. But there's still a lot of unknowns with all this kind of stuff, okay? The calcium that's in fortified soy milk, bad also. It's not that it's bad, it's just that, and perhaps it's good that it's there because not all vegans are eating a whole plant food diet, and thinking about wisely planning their vegan diets so that calcium absorption can be, great. So I don't think it's a bad thing that there's some calcium in the soy milk or the almond milk and that it's fortified. It's not ideal. It's not like it's as good as getting calcium from dark leafy greens. But I don't think it's a bad thing either. It's not going to hurt you. Getting a little bit of extra calcium isn't going to hurt you, especially if you're on a good plant-based diet that's, low in all of the acidifying proteins that can encourage kidney stones and stuff like that. So I wouldn't worry for a second about some soy milk that you use in your oatmeal. If you're drinking a gallon of soy milk every day, I'd ask why. Well, why did you think that was a good idea? My thoughts on probiotics. I have a few videos on probiotics and stuff, and I feel like I expressed my thoughts fairly well there. Probiotics can be helpful for getting you back on track. Gosh, that's probably something else that I should have mentioned with the autoimmune stuff. I was like planning what I was going to say while I was showering this morning, and probiotics were definitely part of the autoimmune thing. So, probiotics, they can be good for helping you to get back on track. You don't have to take them forever. There are some people who do better taking them forever. It is hard to find a really good probiotic that's like strictly vegan, that was grown on non-dairy cultures, which is why I tend to avoid taking them regularly. Also, I don't want to spend my money that way. But if you're in like dire straits, if you're dealing with an autoimmune disorder, take probiotics. Like, take a good potent probiotic. If I was personally dealing with an autoimmune disease, or if I was dealing with something like IBD, IBS, anything to do with like the health of my bowel that was acute and causing really concerning symptoms, I would order myself some probiotic. It's called VSL number 3. You can look it up on Amazon, and it's like they overnight ship it to your house. It's really fucking expensive, but it's also really potent. Like, it's medical grade probiotics. And they've done some really cool studies on those, and the changes have been really significant. I know that there are some clinics that utilize like a plant-based protocol with using these types of really high potent probiotics, and they've had some great success. That said, they also acknowledge that like there are just some people who like will not heal, and that's when you have to like resort to drug or surgical interventions. But that's outside of my scope of practice, so to speak. What do I think or know about Epstein-Barr virus and its connection to thyroid disorders and other autoimmune disorders? I've heard about that connection. I'm not super well informed about it, but it's one of those things where, you know, what's the trigger of these diseases? Right now we live in a world that's like full of triggers for these thyroid issues, especially thyroid issues and other endocrine issues. It's like the level of assault that we're under right now is just, it's horrendous, with all of the hormonally disruptive chemicals that are in the plastics and the air and the gas that we're burning and all the industrial pollutants. And like, I wake up every day and I'm shocked that human beings are still walking around with only 2 arms, you know? I'm really shocked that we haven't grown more arms yet. Hold on one second, my neighbor is mowing his yard. Okay. The question for me isn't so much like, you know, what caused this. The question for me is, what are we going to do about it? And what keeps coming back, what we keep coming back to is, what are we going to do about it? Whole plant food protocol, you know? It's whole plant food protocol, you know, like reducing some of these, you know, trigger foods that can aggravate us, trying to reduce the amount that we are exposed to these hormone disruptive chemicals by changing our body care products, by changing our cleaning products. Trying to increase the health of our gut is just unequivocally so important. And how are we going to do that? By changing our body care products, by changing our cleaning products, by changing what we're feeding ourselves, by acknowledging that fiber is a really necessary nutrient and we should really be focusing on fiber, fiber, fiber. Like, I know everybody's worried about protein. Stop thinking about protein. Think about your fiber intake, because taking care of our gut is so important in today's world when just breathing air is so fucking toxic and so bad for our endocrine systems. And like, we don't want to freak out about that too much, because freaking out is also bad for your endocrine system. And I have noticed that a lot of people with like thyroid or adrenal or autoimmune issues, like, we're chronic freaker outers, and I say that as a chronic freaker outer, where it's like I just feel like, oh my god, my body's falling apart, oh my god, what am I gonna do about it, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and frantically searching the internet, trying to find answers, and more answers just trigger more questions. And then it's like we get into this state where we're freaking out all the time, and we feel like we have to find this answer that's outside of us, and someone has it, and I don't know who, and I'm being lied to, and it turns into this huge fiasco that's really bad for our bodies. Okay? Yes, oh my god, I know the feeling. Yeah, it's a really common feeling nowadays. Okay. What about adrenal fatigue and lots of fruits? Sugar. Again, the sugar in fruits are metabolized in a very different way than refined sugar. So, adrenal fatigue with anything else, eat a whole plant food diet. So the more refined sugar, the more processed carbohydrates that you take in, the more that can affect the blood sugar, the cells that are... Okay, hold on one second, I'm going to take a step back. So with adrenal fatigue, what's being found, now that we acknowledge that it exists, some medical professionals anyway acknowledge that it exists, it's being found that it's a disease of mitochondria inside your cells not being able to create enough ATP, enough energy for our bodies to exist at a cellular level. So, you need to try to support those mitochondria and support your cells to return back to normal, and you do that by eating a whole plant food diet. So, fruits are definitely part of a whole plant food diet. Now, I was personally dealing with adrenal fatigue. I was dealing with hypothyroid and hypoglycemia at the same time, and I cured that with a almost completely fruit-based diet. So, I did the raw food 80-10-10 diet, and I don't think, looking back on it, I don't think it was necessary that I did the 100% raw food diet to be able to heal. I think that if I had just eaten a whole plant food diet, it would have probably had the exact same effect. But the fruits did it for me. Fruits and sleeping like a motherfucker. I would sleep 15 hours a day for a couple of months. I know it sounds impossible to anyone who has a real life, but it's like if you have adrenal fatigue, you don't have a real life anymore. So just sleep through it for a while. You will feel better. Oh, wow. John. Triggered much? Jesus Christ. Hurt people hurt people. That is the truth. Okay. Incoming banhammer. Yeah. Geez, he was commenting for a while. What a shithead. What are my thoughts on unnatural vegan? Thanks for that question, Passion and Potatoes. How do I say this diplomatically? I don't watch a lot of her videos, just because when I do watch her videos, I feel like this. Okay? So that's how I feel when I watch her videos. I appreciate that, that she does kind of hold our community to higher standards, because there are some people that are blah, 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 flapping their freaking jaws within the vegan community, and they're idiots, and someone needs to address that, that's not healthy. So she does that sometimes, and I appreciate that. What I don't really appreciate is that then she uses these more fear-mongering resources to imply that people who look and feel perfectly healthy and who are giving perfectly safe advice, like eat whole plant foods, be wise about your supplementation, and be aware of the needs of your body throughout all stages of life. Like, people who are saying that, there's nothing dangerous about that. And there is no evidence that people on a whole plant food diet are deficient in any amino acids. So I don't understand why she wants to be like a shit stirrer. And, because it's like there's so much out there that needs to be addressed outside of veganism. Like, ketogenic diets, paleo, just idiocity in general. And I feel like it's really wise for us as a movement, and this is something that I've learned more of and experienced more of in the last couple of years. Like, we need to unite behind each other more and present a united front, because it's all of like the fractionating it's not working for us, and it makes us look like assholes. So, I mean, there are several channels that I was subscribed to, like Vegan Gains, like Unnatural Vegan, Fully Raw Christina, and several others. And I've really realized, like, I don't enjoy watching this stuff. It makes me kind of, like, I don't feel good after I watch these videos. I find them very triggering. I find them so very irritating, just personally, and so I don't watch it. Like, I'm not gonna include that in my life anymore. And as I move forward with my channel, like, I don't want it to be a space where I complain about the way other people do their videos. I want it to be more about offering the information that I have to offer, and offering the example that I have to offer. And not so much like getting into the shit throwing fights and the shit stirring, and the other thing with Unnatural Vegan that really rubs me the wrong way is how condescending she is. And it's taught me a lot about my own communication style and my own effectiveness, because, you know, I see a lot of that, like, condescension and eye rolling and calling things and people stupid that I saw in myself in some of my earlier videos. And it's like, me, someone who pretty much agrees with like 90% of what Unnatural Vegan has to say, like, even her, listening to her say those things, like, in such a condescending, asshole-ish way, I'm so turned off by that message. And I'm like, oh wow, okay, so if that's how I feel as someone who virtually agrees with her, I can't imagine how someone who's more on the fence about veganism or plant-based diets, whatever, would respond. And it's like a horrible way to get your opinion across. Okay? That's what I think about that. I do like that she keeps her personal life personal. Like, that's obviously important to her, and she sticks to that, so good for her. Do I think that 400 milligrams of calcium daily is enough? Some studies have indicated that 400 milligrams per day is enough. I wouldn't recommend that for, like, a woman who wants to get pregnant and raise a baby, grow a baby out of her body. But again, like, some research has shown that that's enough. Some research has indicated that it's not enough. Usually the research that indicates that it's not enough is sponsored by some kind of, like, dairy or calcium supplement interest. But I would say, like, you know, try to get more. Try to get more than 400 per day. I don't think it's necessarily necessary to meet the 1,000 milligrams per day that the RDA is set at, but I would say like a little higher than 400 milligrams might be wise. Okay. All right. Caroline says, you agree with unnatural vegan for the most part? Question mark. She said that she doesn't find the health argument for veganism convincing. Yeah, I mean, maybe I shouldn't have said that I don't agree with her for the most. I guess I don't watch enough videos of hers to be able to know if I agree with her or not. Shit. I don't have too much of a problem with what she recommends. Do I even know what she recommends? I don't know. If she doesn't find the health argument for veganism convincing, like, I think what she's trying to say with that is that stringent, absolute, 100% veganism is not supported by research to be necessary for health. What she tends to say, from what I've heard, is that, and this is what I've heard as well, and I have to say, it's not wrong. People who eat less than like 5% of their calories or 10% of their calories from animal foods have pretty great longevity and pretty low disease rates. That's true. People who include like 2 to 3 servings of animal foods per week, no dairy, right? And that would be like, you know, free-range animal foods or like wild-caught fish. Ugh, gag me. Or like, I don't even know what else. I don't know enough about animal foods anymore. But people who consume like small amounts of animal foods, okay, they're pretty healthy in comparison studies. Especially when they're compared to people who eat a vegan diet, when said vegan diet could theoretically include Oreos and Coca-Cola and Funyuns. Like, that could be what a vegan diet is based on in a study, and then you have someone who eats, like, mostly whole plant foods with a little bit of animal products, and they come out healthier than the vegans. What you don't see a lot of are studies comparing people who are eating whole food plant-based diets, like whole food vegan diets, compared to people who eat, you know, whole plant-based diets with a little bit of animal products. Like, the health outcomes for these people are pretty equal. So, if we as vegans want to say that you have to be 100% vegan all the time in order to be healthy, that is not supported by science. And I think that's what she's trying to say. And it's easy for people to take her saying that or me saying that out of context, to point the finger at her and say, you're not a real vegan, you know, fuck you. Without acknowledging that, like, that's what the data shows. I choose to be 100% vegan because of health concerns and ethical concerns and environmental concerns. But with especially the environmental concerns, again, you get the argument that, like, reduction is better than nothing, and people who eat, like, a small amount of dairy or meat from animals that they grew themselves, or, like, backyard chickens, yeah, that's not as bad for the environment. If we stick stringently to, you know, veganism is best no matter what, and we don't acknowledge that there are intricacies to these arguments, then it makes us look dogmatic, it makes us look like we're not well informed. So I actually do believe that by conceding certain facts, like, yes, it does appear that people who include small amounts of animal products in their diet are perfectly healthy. Like, if we don't concede that, then we are ignoring information, and it makes us untrustworthy. So I understand what she's saying about that. I think the way she says it makes everyone feel like assholes. I don't know. Every time I watch her videos, I'm like, she's an asshole, I'm an asshole, everybody's an asshole, why am I watching this? Anyway. get on to another topic. How do you get rid of arm fat? I'm pretty toned everywhere else, but it just won't budge. Oh, and back fat. Well, I mean, that's... like this. Hi. I'm just kidding, this is my triceps. No, I mean, everybody, like, this is my trouble area too, like, arm fat, back fat, belly fat, thigh fat, it's kind of up to your genetics, right? And, you know, it's like you can tone the area, you can try to do your cardio and go into, like, fat burning mode, and you can do high intensity interval training to try to get yourself leaned out. But it's really just up to your body where it wants to lose which fat at what time. So, like, you know, genetically speaking, maybe it was, I mean, I look at my mom, she's shaped much the same way, my sister, shaped much the same way, my dad's family is just genetically blessed, so I'm glad I have a little bit of that in there. But it's like also when I think about all the endocrine disruptors that I was exposed to in the womb and as a child and in my teens and all the antibiotics that I took and how that fucked up my microbiome, like, I'm just grateful to be walking around and alive. So I'm not going to worry too much about, like, the arm fat and the back fat, and there are just certain tops that I can't wear. And if you want to continue on a weight loss journey to the point that you get lean enough body-wide that you lose that fat, go for it. But my advice would be spend more effort learning to not pick your body to pieces about its trouble areas. Spend more time just accepting it for the way that it is and the shape that it is. And you'll be a lot better off than if you try to lose arm and back fat specifically. Why is fluoride toothpaste bad? Oh man, that's a loaded question. So fluoride is, let's just talk about what fluoride is. It is a byproduct of, is it aluminum production? I don't remember. Anyway, it's this like toxic byproduct. And then at some point in time, governments and corporations decided to collude to get rid of this toxic byproduct, and they were like, let's put it in our drinking water, okay? That sounds like a great idea. Because what fluoride does is it makes your teeth collect more minerals and become, like, bulkier, okay? So back in the 50s or whenever, they were like, okay, great, this will theoretically prevent cavities, so let's do it, you know? Because back in those days, like, deficiencies were real, you know? There were such thing as people who weren't getting enough calcium or enough of whatever vitamin or mineral, and so there were actual problems, like kids' teeth falling out. That was an actual issue. So it probably seemed like a great idea at the time to, hey, yeah, let's add some fluoride to the drinking water, and we'll put fluoride in toothpaste, and then we'll, you know, go into schools and we'll give kids fluoride swishes every month, and then we'll go to the dentist and we'll put like a fluoride foam all over their teeth, and we'll just soak these little fuckers in fluoride, and it'll be great. It'll be great for them. It's had some unintended consequences. So there are actually several teeth deformities that come from exposure to fluoride, and I see people with these, you know, deformities and discoloration all the time. It's real, it exists. I know that when I was growing up, like, I didn't take very good care of my teeth, because whenever I brush my teeth, I get chill bumps, like, all over my body, and it used to drive me nuts. Even just thinking about brushing teeth, I get chicken skin. Anyway, so I used to try to avoid brushing my teeth at all costs. But anyway, I, like, didn't have cavities, ever. I guess I just had good teeth. And then I got a cavity when I was, like, 15, and it ended up being, like, this huge cavity inside my tooth, and just, like, part of my tooth just fell apart. And I was like, oh my god! And we went to the dentist, and he was like, yeah, it's probably because of all of the fluoride that she was exposed to, because, you know, it bulks out the tooth, and it makes the pore of the tooth really, really small, so that the pore inside the tooth can't really be cleaned, but bacteria can get in. which makes the tooth more prone to huge, large cavities. So I feel like the fluoride stuff is kind of backfired. It's also a neurotoxin, if I'm not mistaken, and it's known to have like kind of like a sedative antidepressant effect. So, you know, there are conspiracy theories that it's being fed to the population to make us more docile. Yeah, and someone else adds it lowers IQs and is a powerful endocrine disruptor. I wouldn't doubt that at all. When is my ebook coming out? I don't fucking know. I don't know. I'm working on it. It's like over 100 pages now. One of them. I don't know. It's like, bleh. Do you think drinking steamed vegetable water is beneficial? Yeah, so when you steam your vegetables and whatnot, the water, you know, that drips down, it has some stuff in it. Now that water is like boiling, so certain things like vitamins have probably been degraded to a certain extent. So the vitamin content might not be great, but you get other things like minerals, other phytonutrients that can survive the heating process. Sure, there might be some benefit to it. I think the more important question, it would kind of be like drinking tea, you know? It's like you take leaves of tea and you put them in boiling water and then you drink that. I don't know why we don't eat the tea leaves. I guess there's reasoning behind it, but whatever. I think the more important question is, do you enjoy it? Because if you don't enjoy it, and if it's disgusting for you, and it's one of those things that you're like, this is disgusting, but I'm doing it for my health, then I think you should stop doing it. You want to come in?
I want to leave in a little bit.
Okay. Do you want to come in?
Yeah. Is it okay if I come in like this?
Yeah, sure. Did I ever work as a yoga teacher? I did, shortly. And then I realized that most yoga teachers are full of shit, and that's like a culture that I don't really want to be part of. And it takes a lot to break into the yoga teaching realm. And I'm just not, and I wasn't willing to make that a part of my life. Okay. Do you want to come? Do you want to sit?
I think I should sit on the ground.
You won't be in the shot if you sit on the ground. Levi's here. He's having trouble picking a spot to sit down. We'll just sit here.
Okay. Well.
My thyroid, like, I have a lot of trouble getting a doctor to even run the blood work on my thyroid. Like, they just test my thyroid stimulating hormone, and I'm like, no, I want, you know, the free T3 and the T4 and all this stuff. And they're like, no. So, it appears to be fine, as best as I can tell, but I'm functioning like I'm functional. Are you going to sit down or not? Just sit down. Come on. You can show everybody. Levi got a tattoo.
Do you want to see the tattoo?
Do you guys want to see the tattoo? He's being all like coy about it. Appropriate. I suggest taking the methylcobalamin B12 supplements, because methylated, just in case you have one of those genetic...
Right back.
Oh, for...
Right back.
Yes, they want to see your tattoo. Yes. Because there can be, like, genetic issues with whether or not your body is efficient at methylating B vitamins. So I figure just take the methylcobalamin B12.
Okay,
Better safe than sorry. Come in here. Okay. What's WSLF? Is that whole starch, low fat? I don't know what that is. Okay. Dude, that is sick. Nice. Whoa. Oh my god, that's big. That's what I think every time I see him. I'm like, oh my god, that's big. He's your big boy.
Not done. I'm gonna go
today and finish up the back.
Yeah, he's having like a back piece done today too.
It's called a cape.
Yeah. Whole starch, low fat. What is it? Don't laugh at me. Just tell me what it is. How long did it take?
Oh, what?
Reminds me of Maui from Moana. That's what I said yesterday too.
Oh.
What does it mean? It's tradition. Oh yeah, do you want to tell them about the meanings?
Yeah, so...
You don't have to right now.
Okay, I'll just skim through real quick. This is, the triangles represent shark teeth, which represents strength in Hawaiian, yeah. And this is Marquesas, this symbol, the moon and the sun, is, it means harmony. The crosses represent guidance. And these symbols right here, I'm not sure what they're called. They look like turtles, but they actually represent true love. And this is all kind of just Marquesas and a little bit of Samoan filler in the middle. They have meaning behind it, but I think I'll go into that later on.
Okay. Okay, yes.
I don't speak Hawaiian, sadly.
Your daughter, his oldest daughter, goes to a Hawaiian school though, so she's at least somewhat capable. Okay, yeah, it's Mr. and Mrs. Vegan's diet plan. Basically McDougal, but super strict. What do you mean by super strict? I've looked at their free ebook little thing. As a way to lose weight and help eliminate acne. They have a guide and a cookbook about it. I mean, I think it's great, I don't know, what?
No.
It's very little overt fats. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's low or overt fats is a good way to try to get your acne under control. It's a good way to lose weight more quickly, which isn't something that, like, I'm totally supportive of, but I understand that for a lot of people, weight loss is their main priority, and so I want to support people in doing that healthfully, and I think that that's a good way to do it healthfully, right? So, I think that's fine, but as with any diet plan that's kind of strict, you run into the possibility of triggering calorie restriction or some kind of like disordered eating or some kind of like a lot of hype about, oh, I have to do this perfectly 100% of the time or I'm a failure, which can lead to a lot of like self-hate or binges or any kind of stuff like that. So I like diets that are sustainable, that you can do for the rest of your life, and that's your diet, you know, and then the benefits that you get are just great after that. So I don't think it's a bad diet. What are you drinking? I'm
drinking organic morning, wait, what blend is this? I'm drinking coffee, organic coffee.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. How much money do we spend on food a week?
I spend 100, what? Like 120?
Yeah, Levi gives me $120 a week, and then I use that, and then contribute probably at least $70 or $80 of my own money towards food, and then that's kind of like pooled because there will be times where, you know, I'll get my bulk stuff, and that'll be like $300 at once, you know, blown, and then fresh fruits and veggies are about $100 a week. For all four of us, you know, that's like the girls included. I used to spend a lot less when it was just me, obviously, you know, because I only have one stomach. But, you know, food is a big priority for us, and it is an expense. And I acknowledge that, and I'm happy to spend my money on good food. Do you think Hawaii is more expensive than New Zealand when it comes to food? No, they're probably pretty comparable, because food in New Zealand is pretty expensive, too. How often do we eat out?
Fucking rarely, dude.
Yeah, like once a month, maybe?
Not even.
Maybe, not even that.
I think, like, we went to Uncle Robert's last week, and we ate out, but I think prior to that, we didn't eat out. Like what?
Yeah, it'd been several months.
Fucking 6 months, yeah, but I think 6 months is safe to say, like once every,
I mean, sometimes we'll go and get like
maybe like 5 times a year.
a little sushi or something
Yeah,
for lunch,
yeah,
but
it's like on the run.
yeah, and every time I go out, we end up with a bill of like 40 to $60, and I'm
it's
just like,
rice
shit,
and
dude,
beans.
that's a lot of groceries.
Yeah.
Like, dang.
And she cooks better than the restaurant anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Did yoga feel boring to you at first? Yoga always feels boring to me. Sorry. There are some classes, like, there's one local teacher that I really love her classes. Unfortunately, I can't stand who she is as a person. So there's that. And I don't want to pay her because of it, so I don't go to her classes. But she does like really anatomically based classes that are like super informative. I did a teacher training with her before I knew that I couldn't stand her as a person. And I like that kind of yoga, but there's not like a specific traditional style that I find I enjoy all teachers of, if that makes sense. Someone says that they've struggled with anemia for their entire life, and it's gotten worse since they've gone vegan. How can I improve this condition? We talked earlier in this live stream about how to like optimize the absorption of iron. You can just Google like how to optimize absorption of iron on a vegan diet. You will get everything that we just talked about. If that doesn't work, you might just have a body, you might have genetics that predisposes you to low iron. You're probably just going to have to supplement. That's just how it is. Most people shouldn't supplement with iron because iron oxidizes really easily and it can be super unhealthy. So you don't want too much iron, but if you are chronically anemic and it's not getting better with dietary changes, then you need to supplement.
Someone asked how long it took the tattoo. So I went in on Monday and I got this done right here, the triangles, and I got this done, and that took 6 hours. And the guy was an amateur. Like I thought he could do a better job, so I trusted him, but he kind of butchered me. Yeah. Then I went into another dude yesterday, and then he put the filler in. He made the collar up real nice, and then he added this part. And he added the this borderline over here. He just kind of fixed it up, dude. I kind of wish I went to that guy first because he was a professional. And you really gotta do your research with tattoo artists, man. You can, you might walk out of there wishing you hadn't walked in the first place. But so altogether it took 6 hours for this piece and about 3 hours for the other. So about 9 hours. 9 hours of tattooing.
Yeah. Do I think it's possible to survive as a yoga teacher on Hawaii? No. Maybe. You work your ass off at it, but I have a feeling you're going to end up working as a cashier at a natural food store. That's just, that was my experience. My thoughts on organic versus non-organic food. Buy organic if you can, when you can afford it. I know that it's becoming a lot more affordable, and yes, that means that, organic is being watered down. That's fine.
My favorite Hawaiian song is Hawaii 78. I suggest you look it up on YouTube. It's by Israel Kamakawiwa Ole. Every time I hear that song, I get like something inside of me, just like it's all chicken skin all over my skin, and I feel like stand up straight, and I feel like I'm full of all this power. It's pretty good.
It's a good song.
It's Hawaii 78.
Yeah.
We were marching on the Hawaiian, we were marching on the Mary Monarch, and some band played that because the Hawaiian movement was coming through, and then I started like freaking bawling tears. That song is really emotional.
Yeah. non-organic food, like, you get the pesticides sprayed on it, you get perhaps lower nutritional value. The research is still unclear on that. I would say, like, my favorite thing to do is find small local organic farms and buy from them, because generally speaking, the way that they do their food on small organic local farms is amazing, and their prices are usually super reasonable, especially if you're buying directly from the farm. It takes a lot of research, you know, you gotta visit a lot of farmers markets and talk to a lot of people and ask about buying direct and CSA programs and all that kind of stuff. But organic if you can. If you can't, if it's just outside of your budget, I totally get that. It's better to eat low on the food chain and eat organic than it is to, you know, include animal foods in your diet and such, which bioaccumulate toxins. My thoughts on getting Thai massage. I've had some really great Thai massage. It's so relaxing, it's wonderful. It's kind of similar to shiatsu, where they like move you and press and like stretch you, and it's so delicious. And then I've had some really horrible Thai massage where they push way too hard. They push on your nerves. They don't know what they're doing, some of them. So it depends on your therapist.
So I got some tips about moving to Hawaii.
Do you eat mock meats?
Do I eat mock? What?
Do you eat fake meat?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
About
I never do. Like, it's very, very rare that I do.
I think about 2.5 months I stopped eating it. I used to eat it 3 times a week though. It's really good.
You lost, you know, a good amount of weight.
Yeah, I
you
feel
feel good.
Dude, I feel better too. I didn't think fake meat would make you feel kind of sluggish, but it does a little bit. Just the fats that are in it.
Yeah.
So the tattoo artist I went to is a cool guy. He's from the mainland, right? And he's been researching to move to Hawaii for about 6 years before he actually made the move. So he had planned out where he was going to live. He planned out selling everything, selling his house, and he really thought about it for about 6 years. He came and he visited about 4 or 5 times. He tried kind of establish some roots here with the local tattoo artist to make sure he, you know, he had a plan and then a backup plan and a backup plan. And the first 2 plans that he tried out, you know, he came here, started off with, kind of fell out from underneath him, and he had that 3rd plan that he kind of is cradled by now. So he did his research, and you know, I think if you try to move over here, you should come and visit first. Make sure it's the place for you. It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. Yeah. My thoughts on orthorexia on strict diets. Do you know what orthorexia is?
Me?
Yeah.
It's something with the teeth, right? Teeth decay?
No. It's not tooth decay. Orthorexia is like a form of eating disorder where you get obsessed with healthy eating and like exercising and stuff. So that's what I was talking about a few minutes ago with like the Mr. and Mrs. Vegan. Like, if their diet is, you know, more strict, you run the risk of developing like orthorexic obsession about food and what you're eating and doing everything perfectly and really beating yourself up if you don't do it right. So again, that's why I recommend like being easy on yourself, and like dietary screw-ups happen, and sometimes you go out to eat and you eat a bunch of rich stuff that you didn't mean to, and it really doesn't matter that much. Like, your body will deal with it. There are people, you know, we were talking about autoimmune stuff earlier, that's like, you need to be a little bit stricter or you're genuinely going to have some fallout, you know, and that sucks. That's reality. It's not fair, but it is what it is. If you're not one of those people who has a specific health condition for which they really need to be aware of, then dietary screw-ups happen, and like perfection doesn't exist. You're not going to ever have a perfect diet, okay? Like, you have to let that go. And sure, you might be able to, you know, lose weight really fast if you are on a super strict diet, but you cannot maintain a super strict diet indefinitely. That's just how diets work. Like, that's how our bodies work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And eventually you're going to come off that diet and gain the weight back. So I just figure you might as well pick a diet that feels sustainable to you. If you need to transition and you're like, I need to eat the mock meats every now and then, I'm not going to judge you for that. If you want salad dressing that has some refined sugar in it, like I do, I'm not going to have a problem with that, because otherwise I'm not going to eat salad, or I'm going to eat salad and I'm not going to enjoy it. And if I'm not enjoying my food in my life, then it's not worth being alive. And that, I came to that conclusion after many years of like eating disorders and orthorexia. So, you know, you can go the long way or you can take my word for it.
Someone asked what I eat to gain muscle.
Yeah.
So I think I pretty much eat what you guys eat, but I just maybe double of it, yeah. And I don't take any supplements at all. Nothing. I take an omega-3, like
Every now and then,
every
yeah.
now and then, yeah.
An
and-
algae-based DHA from Nordic Naturals.
Yeah. And maybe some probiotics, but I haven't been taking that for a couple months. But that is it, dude.
Yeah.
Nothing else. I don't put anything foreign in my body.
Do we eat tofu? Yes. We eat tofu. I used to hate tofu, and then one day I woke up and I loved tofu. And I've been loving tofu, and for a while I was like, no, Lily, you can't eat tofu. It's soy. No, you can't eat it. It's too high in fat. And I was like, screw this. I'm gonna eat it. And so I've been enjoying it.
Okay. I'm gonna answer this question,
Okay,
and then I gotta go.
okay.
So what I eat to gain muscle, I really don't know, dude. Like,
You just eat more.
I just eat more of everything. So I'll give you a breakdown of my my daily routine. So I'll get up, right, and I'll make a cup of coffee, right, and then I'll eat maybe, how much oats would you say? Like 3 cups of oats?
Probably a cup and a half of oats.
Oh, okay. Well, a cup and a half.
Dry oats.
Dry oats. Okay, that makes sense. A cup and a half of dry oats with a whole bunch of fruits. So that'll be my breakfast. My lunch will be about 3 cups of cooked brown rice on top of a bed of green vegetables. And on top of that, I'd throw on whatever we had for dinner the night before, which would probably be beans or lentils. And I have like a Tupperware that I stuff tight full of that. I come home, I'll eat like maybe 4 or 5 papayas, a whole bunch of bananas, yeah. Sweet potato if we have them in the icebox. And then at dinner, I'd eat a big green salad, a mountain of brown rice. I know they say like no carbs after 5, but I don't know. When I do that, I wake up with no energy at all.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
need the carbs.
Mm-hmm. And for beans, and for dinner, a whole bunch of beans.
Yeah, but it's
Different
like we're
types.
not purposely eating high protein foods.
No.
Like your body just needs a little bit more fuel and a little bit more amino acids from those whole plant foods to
No
make
carbs,
some
no
more contractile units of your muscle. That's what it's about. It's just adding contractile units like this.
And I've been lifting with no weights. I've been doing body workout.
Yeah. Well, he's genetically like, you're a big boy.
Yeah,
And
I've been lifting for a very long time.
Yeah, you started
Off
lifting
and on.
when you were young, and like, I've noticed that your body shape when you're younger, if you can get it to a good place, like, it really helps maintain. But someone asked, why don't you eat mock meats? I just started this lifestyle and eat mock meats to compensate. Yeah, so a lot of the mock meats, they have like the isolated soy proteins or a lot of gluten in them, and those isolated concentrated proteins can raise insulin-like growth factor levels kind of comparably to meat. So there are a lot of great things about these mock meats. You know, they don't have cholesterol, they're obviously cruelty-free, a little bit better for the environment than meat products, but they're not ideal foods. You know, it's like if you're coming to a vegan diet to preserve your health and because you want longevity, and you want to feel energetic and alive and fresh, you know, the mock meats aren't ideal foods. So they're great for transitioning, they're great for like getting yourself out of the habit of eating meat, but I would say like think about, you know, cooking up a pot of beans and eating just some really yummy beans or lentils,
Spices, dude. Spices really.
Watch my video on cooking beans, and you'll get a good idea of how to cook really yummy beans.
Soon you won't even miss the meat.
Yeah, and then and try to include like more whole plant foods in your diet as opposed to the mock meats, and just like wean yourself off of them.
Yeah, and you should use the mock meat as like a security blanket. Where you feel like, oh shit, I'm gonna go back and eat a chicken, or just go grab some fake meat.
Or you can even use it like when you start switching to beans and stuff. Like take half a patty and sprinkle it into your beans or something. Just to like give you that flavor, to make sure that you feel really satisfied with what you're eating. So that you don't feel like you need to go back to meat. That's the whole idea, is to make sure that you're satisfied while slowly transitioning your body and getting your body used to a healthier diet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What time you got, baby? I gotta get going.
Oh, it's 10.
Oh, is that? Oh, I got some time.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Any advice for someone in college trying to adopt this lifestyle? Poppy, you just do your best. Do your best. It's not going to be perfect. Go slowly, like find the resources that are going to help you get by. Like, oh, hey, in the dining hall, I know that for breakfast they always have this stuff. So, like, I can really tank up on that because it's a great opportunity. And then I know that lunch is a little bit more sparse, but, they have, like, pieces of fruit available. So I can use a lot of fruit, And then for dinner, I know that on, like, Tuesdays and Wednesdays they have this awesome food, and I can go do that. That's, like, you just have to figure it out. Go slow. Be nice to yourself. It's not going to be perfect. What are my thoughts on Durian Rider? I cut him a lot of slack over the years. Because when I found him, like, he wasn't so much of a dick.
No, we don't shop secondhand. She finds her clothes on the side of the road. Most of the time.
I wasn't done talking about
Durian sorry.
Rider. There's a good video series coming out right now. It's called like Unmasking the Narcissist or something. It's about Durian Rider. It's by Norvegan, N-O-R vegan. But I do all of my shopping secondhand. I bought this secondhand. But there are many cases. I have to stand up. Like in the case of these shorts that fit me perfectly. I found these floating in the ocean. Okay? I have some other shorts, my other favorite shorts. I found them on the side of the road next to the carcass of a dead cat.
That's fucked up.
It was really fucked up.
She found the shirt that was covered in vomit, took it home, showered.
I did not. If it is covered in vomit, I do not pick it up.
I don't know, dude. I wouldn't touch that shirt, but hey, the shirt turned out freaking awesome, dude. It was in like a...
Dude, I just found like a really nice Nike running shirt.
That's the one I'm talking about.
That had no vomit on it whatsoever. That was a perfectly clean shirt. It even smelled fresh. Like someone hadn't even gone running around in it.
Wait, what? No. Okay.
I found it in Kona, in a parking space.
That's the one.
Like, anytime I see clothes on the ground, I go and I kick it, and if it's not covered in shit and vomit, I pick it up and I bring it home. And I wash it, and then I wear it.
Half the towels we have in our linen closet.
All of the towels. I don't think I've ever bought a towel in my life, because people leave them at the beach all the time.
That's
like,
crazy.
Why would I pay for something?
Yeah, dude, if you go to the beach early in the morning, you find all kinds of shit.
You find, like, everything you need.
I pick it up, put it in the trash, but she picks it up, takes it home, whatever.
I mean, there have been times where I've been like, ooh, a towel, and you like push me away from it, and it's not fair.
Because you kind of just
so
grab.
satisfying.
What if the guy's just swimming in the ocean? You know?
No,
what I mean?
it's obviously been rained on all night. Like it's a sopping wet
and she's
dirty
like,
towel.
She's like,
and
oh,
I'm like,
slippers.
Score.
And I'm like, dude, the guy's surfing.
They're not. I always make sure that the slippers have been there for like 8 hours before I take them.
Wow.
What's my opinion on getting a higher amount of vitamin C to your body?
Orange juice?
Oh, orange juice is actually quite low in vitamin C. How do you not know this?
I don't know, dude. I just... Yeah.
Ow!
Oh! Owie! Still fresh. Potato only diet.
Like, as long as you get your vitamin C from whole plant foods, you're golden. If you get your vitamin C from a supplement, guess what? It doesn't do the same things in your body as natural vitamin C does. So, like, I was looking at this study, or hearing about this study recently,
I love running.
where they looked at exercise. And so, like, people who exercise, exercise is a hormetic stress. Like, it's a healthy stress. It makes your inflammation and everything spike, and then it goes back down because your body starts producing, like, tons of awesome antioxidants. What they found is that if you take synthetic antioxidants, it impedes the body's ability to make its own antioxidants. If you get more antioxidants in your diet from whole plant foods, it encourages your body's antioxidant activity. So I think that there are probably no benefits to supplementing synthetic vitamin C from a supplement. I think there are big benefits from getting those antioxidant nutrients like vitamin C from whole plant foods. Guess how many times I've said
Plant food?
whole plant foods in this live stream?
6 times.
Levi, are you reading any books right now?
Books. I just finished The Alchemist. I skimmed through the 4 Agreements. I read Creating Affluence. I'm trying to get my hands into Eat, Pray, Love, but oh man, the first chapters are kind of hard to talk about.
You haven't even tried.
I did try. You don't know. I go to the beach and I read. Because if I read on my bed, I fall asleep.
Do you want to see my copy of Eat, Pray, Love?
Somebody took the eat part literal.
Yeah. Oh, those twinkles.
Damn it.
Twinkles is more important.
I know.
This is what Ketter did to my copy of Eat, Pray, Love.
He ate it, then he prayed to God that his mom would have love for him and not be his butt.
And then, like, over here, this is what happens to books in Hawaii. This is all cockroach damage.
Dude, I got my copy for a fucking, like, I think it was like $1.10 at the used bookstore.
Yeah, at the Salvation Army.
Yeah.
This one, I think I got this one from the Salvation Army as well. Yeah, look at this. I don't even know what these pages say because cockroaches ate it. Like, the shit. I like, open up my, talk about a con of Hawaii. I open up my place where I store my yoga blocks the other day, and there's, like, this giant cockroach, and he's literally been living off of my yoga blocks. Like, just eating them. Just eating them. Someone said you look like The Rock from 1995. I don't know if that's a compliment.
Oh, then I said thank you.
They said thank you.
Huh?
He says thank you.
You're welcome. Right? Okay, watch out, move on the side.
Oh.
She said I didn't read any books, dude. That's the books I've been reading.
How many of those pages have you actually read?
Oh, this book is so hard to get into, dude.
Jessica has really low blood pressure. And as a vegan, she feels like she's going to pass out often. What's my advice? I have extremely low energy. Well, make sure you're eating enough. You're probably one of those people that needs, like, a significant amount of sodium in their diet. So, don't be afraid of salt. Other than that, don't be wise about what activities you participate in that are known to lower blood pressure. Be very aware of, like, what herbs you take or are exposed to or drink as tea. Kelly, yes, I supplement with B12. I do methylcobalamin supplement, sublingual spray under my tongue. We've talked about that a little bit in this live stream before. Okay. How do I take my apple cider vinegar? It tastes horrible. Any tips on how you take it? I don't take apple cider vinegar, and I definitely don't advise taking it as a shot because that can damage your esophagus and lead to fucking cancer. I've told you that before.
All kind of new stuff is coming out, dude. You gotta stay on it. Like,
you just have to not be an idiot.
No, dude, that's hard, dude.
Like, If something burns to high heaven when you drink it...
That ginger shot burns. We were fucking
Yeah,
shooting it up.
I don't think it's a great idea. But nobody wanted to listen to Miss, like, I'd rather not get esophageal cancer.
Wow.
Everybody just wants to have a good time and take ginger shots.
I don't know. I'd recommend The Alchemist if you haven't already read it. I read it twice. I read it once 5 years ago, and then once just last week. Feel different about it.
If you are gonna take apple cider vinegar,
Dilute it with water.
yeah, I dilute it with
Put
water.
lemon inside of it. Yeah, a little bit lemon.
No, lemon is acidic.
Oh shit! See, I would die if it wasn't here.
I mean, I have my sickness juice. I do like a little lime juice, and then I add some apple cider vinegar, and then I add a little coconut sugar, which I know isn't the best when you're sick, but it's just so terrible. But just make sure it's diluted, and then I drink it with a straw to keep it off of my teeth. And then maybe if you do take it in more of like a concentrated form, so not quite as diluted, you could just do a chaser with something that's really alkaline, like, almond milk or soy milk that has calcium added, and that'll help to, like, calm down that acidity. That's a loved book right there. Even the roaches loved it. The Eat, Pray, Love.
Yeah.
Ivory asks, do I have a juice cleanse recipe for liver detox? No, I don't advise, like, juice cleansing. For liver detox, if you're worried about the detoxification capabilities of your liver, which is something that's a problem for a lot of people with adrenal fatigue issues, slow liver detox, I would say, like, herbal supplements are a good way to support that. But make sure that you continue eating enough whole plant foods.
Forehead wrinkles. I know, dude. I'm cursed.
Thoughts on coconut water? Is it a whole food? I think coconut water is great. I think it's like...
Like actual water from the coconut? Or like the canned coconut water?
Yeah. I feel like the canned coconut water is a little...
If you haven't had water from a actual coconut...
Can you hand me my water?
Then you're missing out, dude.
Lily, I cut out a lot of the processed vegan crap as of late, and I noticed I'm breaking out. Is it my hormones just balancing out? It's probably less hormones and more, like, detoxification. So I know that, like, as a person, like, I had adrenal fatigue. I'm pretty damn sure that my liver does not detoxify as efficiently as I wish it would. Sluggish lymphatic system. I process the junk food that I eat through my skin. So, like, if I eat something that's, like, junky or oily, it comes out of my skin, quite literally. And I've noticed that in the times when I did transition from, like, a standard diet or more of, like, a junk food or a high-fat diet, when I transitioned to a low-fat diet of whole plant foods, it usually takes me, like, 6 to 8 weeks for my skin to stop with the breakouts. Osita Lumen says, could I thrive on a high-fat vegan diet? It seems as though I feel depleted if I don't have a fatty meal every day. Well, I mean, that depends, like what's your definition of a high-fat diet, Because the diet that I'm recommending is not a no-fat diet. It's whole plant foods, which contain plenty of healthy fats, Like, the diet that I eat is probably about, like, 15% fat, maybe 10% of my calories from fat some days. Like, I'm not on a strictly low-fat diet. And what you consider to be high fat, I think in this day and age, might be a little bit convoluted with everyone giving different recommendations and stuff.
Right.
So,
well,
like, if you feel better with more fats in your diet, I would say stick to whole plant foods as much as you can. And do what feels best for your body. If you feel like you are thriving on a diet that contains more fats, then you are thriving on a diet that contains more fats. Okay? What foods promote liver health? Whole plant foods promote liver health. Cruciferous vegetables.
All around health. Yeah.
Yeah. Cruciferous vegetables seem to be particularly awesome for like liver detox pathways, as well as activating different enzymes and stuff in your gut. It's really cool. Dark leafy greens, dandelions are apparently very liver cleansing, so you can go harvest some of those. Just don't harvest them from like the side of the road or places where a lot of chemicals are sprayed, because the dandelions will absorb that stuff. I think I'm gonna wrap this up.
Yeah.
Although you guys are awesome, but I got shit I have to do today.
I'm gonna get going because I know how long this goodbyes drag out.
Yeah, I'm bad with the goodbyes.
Okay, guys. It's on your Insta. Okay, I'll try and post. Well, I don't know if I recommend all these books. I will. I'll try and skim through them.
I sent him this book when I was in New York.
I love this book. This is my favorite book.
It was like a sideways reminder to be like,
It gave me nightmares, dude.
get your shit together. But Mark Nepo is one of my favorite authors. Let's see.
You should skip the first story in this book. It's fucking scary.
I read this, like, every day for a year. You read one. He has one for each day of the year. And it was, like, really, really meaningful to me. I actually gave the copy that I was reading to my mom. Because I love my mom. And it breaks my heart that she's going to burn in hell for what she did to me. But then I bought myself another copy because I love it that much. And it's that meaningful. Right? Okay. Yeah, Mark Nepo. Good stuff.
It's just a book on boundary. Oh, okay, guys. I gotta get going.
Okay. Love you.
Alright, I love
My
you too.
coffee.
Alright, guys. You guys have a good one.
Let me know if you need me to bring you anything.
Nah, I'm good. Bye, guys.
Okay. Any last
Requests?
burning questions? Get them in now. While I'm here. Okay, I see a couple of... Why is oil so bad? Because it's a refined food. It's like pure fat, very few nutrients. You don't want to use your calories on pure fat with few nutrients, and it can have a negative effect on arterial health as well as insulin sensitivity. Done. Did you see that Dr. Greger is doing a series on rice? No, I didn't see that. How would you tell if you have leaky gut? It's really hard to tell. If you have symptoms like autoimmune disease is a great way to suspect if you have leaky gut. If you have like a lot of food sensitivities, like you're sensitive to gluten and soy and peanuts and all of this shit, and you're not allergic, but you're just sensitive. That would be a great way to tell. Otherwise, it can be really difficult to tell. And I would say just like don't stress about it and just eat whole plant foods with lots of fiber and maybe take some probiotics if you feel like that's something that you want to include in your life, and you'll be good. How important is cardio? Cardio is very important. Like the movement, the lymphatic movement, the blood pumping, getting your heart going, blood flow, increased blood flow to the skin. Like, it's important. You should make it part of your life at least 2 or 3 days a week. It doesn't have to be super intense cardio, but just something to get your blood pumping. Have I ever had parasites? Probably. Most people have parasites. Parasites aren't necessarily a bad thing. I'm not saying that you should purposely get parasites. I'm just saying that, like, human beings are animals. Animals have parasites. We co-evolved with parasites. And there is some evidence to indicate that a lack of the parasitic infections of modern Western life could be a trigger of autoimmune diseases as well, because the parasites interact with our immune systems to regulate how they function. Anyway, okay.
Babe, that watch is really slow, dude. Right now it's 10:40.
No way.
Yes.
The battery must be dying.
Holy shit. I'm gonna leave the gate open because I'm late.
Okay, I love you.
Love you, bye.
Have I been to Thailand? No. How many times can you say whole plant foods in 1 minute? Whole plant foods, 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 whole plant foods. Yes, all forms of oil are just refined pure fat. The stuff that's in hummus, yes, it's not great. You can make your own hummus without oil. It's delicious, I promise. Just make sure you salt it enough. How to tell if you have candida overgrowth. You go see a naturopath and you say one thing that's wrong for you and they blame it on candida. That's how you know. Sorry. Raw coconut oil is also oil. Okay? Okay. I saw one question. This is not about diet, but how do you know if I'm gonna end on this question, okay? So you guys can, like, keep asking me questions, making me feel guilty, or you can just not. And I won't internalize that as much. Did they retract their... Oh my goodness. Did they retract? They retracted... Okay, I think they retracted the comment, so I'm not going to answer that. That's too bad. I had a good answer for it. Okay. Thoughts on taking antibiotics for acne for a long period of time. My sister was on that super harsh acne drug and then her acne was solved temporarily but has come back and now she takes an antibiotic for it. Yeah, so if you take an antibiotic long term for acne, I think that is highly irresponsible and I think that dermatologists should have their fucking license revoked. I know that it's standard practice right now, but knowing what we know now about gut health, okay? Let's just talk about this. I was listening to a podcast the other day. I don't remember specifically which episode it was, but it was the Rich Roll podcast. And he was talking to this female doctor who specializes in, inflammatory bowel diseases. And she says that one of the primary causes of developing inflammatory bowel diseases, like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's, is long-term use of antibiotics. Okay? So these dermatologists that are putting people on antibiotics for acne and just completely circumventing the actual cause and solution of the acne need to have their license revoked. Because if you take a teenager who has acne and you say, okay, I'm going to put you on this antibiotic, they trust you because you're a doctor, you're a dermatologist, you're supposed to have their best interests at heart and you're supposed to know what you're doing. So you give this person antibiotics, their acne gets better for a little while, but inevitably it gets worse, right? Because acne and skin health is intimately connected to your gut health. And then you end up getting these overgrowths of pathogenic bacteria. You kill off all of your good bacteria, which fucks up your immune system, and then you end up getting an autoimmune disorder or inflammatory bowel disease. And do you know how they treat that? They cut your bowel out. And then you end up with a fucking colostomy bag because you had acne. And that is unethical. It's not right. It's shitty. And I'm just so unimpressed that anyone with the last 15 years of research on microbiome in the gut, or in the body in general, would ever prescribe someone antibiotics when they don't need it. It is fucked, Orlando. It's completely fucked. And it pisses me off. It pisses me off every time, my boyfriend, oh my god, my boyfriend's daughter comes over and she's sick because her mom didn't want to take her to school. So instead of taking her to school and getting up at the right time, she takes her to the doctor and she says, she's sick. She's not fucking sick. And then the doctor puts her on antibiotics. Again, I've seen this girl be put on antibiotics at least 10 or 12 times in the last 4 or 5 years that I've known her. And, I get so pissed every time because I know the effect that it's having on her small developing body and her small developing microbiome, and it really pisses me off. And it's one of those things where it's like, you know, Levi gets it, and he's like equally as appalled, but when you're not making those kinds of medical decisions, yeah, don't take antibiotics unless you absolutely have to. I'm talking about like life-threatening infection, you know. Sure, take antibiotics then. Take as many antibiotics as you possibly can. Okay. So, I see you guys asked a lot of different questions, although not as many as I was perhaps expecting. So thank you all so much for showing up. This has been fun, as always. Yes, we do give the girls probiotics. So every single weekend I give those children several doses of probiotics. I wish we could do better, you know? It's like, I wish that they ate better when they were at their mom's houses. I wish that, you know, they would get probiotics, or like the medical treatment would be more thought out. But like his youngest, she had a lot of skin issues going on, and she has like a lot of digestive complaints, kind of similar to I had when I was younger. And she also had a lot of asthma going on, and all of that stuff mysteriously cleared up when she stayed with us for like 2 weeks, and we megadosed her with probiotics the whole time. Interesting. So thank you. Doctors do have a tendency of messing you up. Like, medical treatment definitely has its times and its places, and work with your doctor. Be an informed consumer of your medical stuff, and do your best. You know, you do your best at the end of the day. Okay. Thank you guys. Again, don't try to pour in more questions to me while I'm trying to wrap it up. Like, trying to be generous. You guys know this is hard for me. So thank you. I will see you guys hopefully next week. I'm thinking like, is weekly live streaming best? It seems to me that like every other week is kind of like intuitively how much I want to do, but I'll see. Some weeks it's just super easy to fit this into my schedule, and other weeks it's not. So thank you guys so much. I like to do these at kind of different times, just so, you know, everybody has a chance to tune in, because I know people in Europe don't always like to get up at 2 a.m. to watch a live stream. Okay, so thank you. I'll see you guys soon, and I have lots of great videos planned for the next couple of weeks, so definitely stay tuned. Thank you so much. Bye!